found an ideal spot in the bush to have a chat. A chat that has been brewing in my mind, in my body, for a long time. And it was sparked today by this conversation, a podcast, with this lady. Her name is Laura Erisha. I hope I pronounced that correctly. The words that she said were, "Wandering unawakened in an Eden we've forsaken." And I'm laughing, but it's a laugh of pain. Because those words just ring so true. I really have been feeling and have always felt just the absolute magic of our world. The awe of being here and the awe of all that is here. And yet we are so blinded to it. So blinded. How are we here? Why are we here? What am I doing here? What is my purpose? What's the purpose of any of this? These are all the questions that arise once the chatter of the material world, of this capitalist society that we are currently living in, that actually is so insignificant. It's so insignificant. And it is so just a blip. And yet it runs our life and it rules our life. And we as humans have created a world built on nothing but our own lack. We've created a world that tells you from the very moment you are born, you are not good enough and you are incomplete and you are lacking. That there is always more to have, more to want, more to desire, more to get. It's the foundations of the crazy freaking world that we find ourselves in this period of time. And I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be the case anymore. And it's like how? Because this is the current system that rules the majority of the people on the planet. And yet we need change because humans fundamentally are not actually designed in that way. Nothing about life and about the world is designed in that way. Everything in our world is actually abundant. Everything in our world is actually perfect as it is. I have never once looked at a tree and thought that it needs to look like a different tree. I've never once looked at the savannah and thought that it should be the ocean. It's idiocy and it's lunacy, and it's what we're doing to people right now. So naturally people are falling apart. People are breaking down and people are not being able to function. And if you can get one message from everything that I share, it is simply to honor what it is that you already are. Honor what it is that you inherently are and have been since your birth. Whatever that looks like for you. But don't listen to the narratives that tell you need to be something else. Because they're built on a framework of greed. It's big corporations, people in power, who are kept in power and are kept receiving money, receiving wealth, by making the masses feel that they are lacking, so that there is another product and another thing that they can strive for, work for, slave for, to have and to hold and to buy, just to realize that thing actually didn't fulfill the hole inside of them, because nothing is going to fulfill that hole. I'm here to tell you, you've got a void inside of you, and you actually just have to come to terms with it. That's the secret. No relationship, no material thing, no external thing is gonna fill it or gonna make it anything other than what it is. And the beautiful thing is, once you turn inwards towards that void, you are greeted with yourself, and you're greeted with all of the things about yourself that are actually just fulfilling and actually wondrous. Your very being can be the reason that you are happy. That's all I'm trying to get at here. And this ties into this other quote that I recently heard, which is, the evolution process is now in the hands of evolutionary material. Which, like, beautiful. Like, we are the evolutionary material. The evolutionary process has created humans, and now we literally, the actual evolutionary material, get to create as well. As these little imperfect humans. And wow, isn't that just magnificent? But to frame all of that, recently I've just been ruminating on the simple fact that all religions are talking to the exact same thing. And it's crazy because as a human, you're born onto the earth. You're here. Whether you like it or not, you're put here. And it is our natural impulse, our natural inclination, when we live in sync with the natural world, to be absolutely awestruck by the position that we find ourselves in. You can't look up at a tree 100 times bigger than you and not be amazed. You can't really look at the night sky and not have a contemplative spiral inwards. You can't exactly look at an ocean and not feel like a tiny speck. And yet, because of the material world that we've created and the way that we are living in society today that is so far from our natural rhythm, we really have disconnected ourselves from those natural innate knowings that nature gives us daily. And with that, we also no longer have that awe and that reverence of our natural world and our place in it. So what I'm getting at with that is, a human within that structure can only naturally come to the conclusion that there is a creator. Now, I don't care what you want to call that and how you even want to think of that, how you want to verbalize it, because even my language right now is creating the way that you're perceiving what I'm talking about. I don't care how you want to communicate and make sense of it, but simply there is something greater than us that we can't fathom as where and who we are right now. And all religions stem from people who were aware of that and yet made that knowing into beautiful story, beautiful verse, beautiful whatever, but a beautiful story that around their ethnocentric group or tribe. Because that's, of course, what you did. That was your world. We weren't a global world yet. Now we are a global world, and we are functioning as though we are still these separate worlds, but we're not. We actually now have this global connection that is not mirrored in coherence and in communication. If you don't believe in yourself and you don't believe in the world, get out into nature. Get some freaking soul time in nature. Sit, be with nothing else than the trees, the wind, the ground, the bugs, the bees, the animals, the fleas, the ticks. I actually got a tick on my neck the other day. Anyway, be with it all. Because not too long from now, not too far along, you'll find that you can no longer be with it all. And you'll pass on wherever we go. So be here now in this absolute majestic moment in time where we're at a tipping point between absolute collision catastrophe or possible uplifting monumental human change, human evolution, because that's all we are. We're just evolution, experiencing more evolution, and actually let me just say this, because I love this and I think it really gives a beautiful viewpoint from which we can see spirituality and this shift in consciousness that everyone's talking about. We are evolution itself. We are the product of millennia of evolution. Somehow or other, along that track, the mind, the consciousness came to be. It evolved into existence. We have consciousness. We have this awareness of our world and of ourselves, everything in our world. It goes to follow that it's not just going to be us anymore. It's not just going to be the physical things evolving. Consciousness will evolve. Everything follows the evolutionary timeline. That is what we are. We are evolution itself. So consciousness is going to evolve. Our awareness, our way of seeing, our way of being, our way of feeling, our way of sensing, knowing, being. It's all got to evolve because that's just actually natural. It's just the simple evolution of us and of all things. And I just think that's so beautiful. I think it's absolutely beautiful. And the actual other part of that that's majestic is our evolution could be our demise. Consciousness could be our demise. Due to our consciousness and the way that we operate in this world, we have created weapons of mass destruction. Weapons that could wipe out our entire existence. Consciousness could be our end. It could be the very thing that destroys us. Or we could evolve into the unknown, because it is unknown. I don't care how many people tell you some version of this. There's all the words. In reality, it's the unknown. And I get that that's freaking scary. It's freaking fearful. But it's actually our only choice. Our only choice if we want to live. So there's all my spiel. It took me, I think I've been sitting here for about 45 minutes, loving every second of it. Went by in a flash, as things that we love do, that we love doing do. I've also had this little white feather with me the entire time. And a second one. Beautiful. Feather dance. Yeah, get out in nature. Get amongst the bugs and the bees. Touch some leaves. Pick up some fleas. Dance with the trees. Sway with the breeze. You catch my drift. You catch what's going on here. Look at all the flies around me. It's quite a lot. The joy of being here.